Pulse mixtapes.
Okay.
Brad Pulse.
Okay. Okay.
Hot air balloon.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 2 of the Youth Wellness Podcast season. This is the 7th season of the Underwater Fly Zone Podcast, and we're back in the studio. If you did not get the chance to check out episode 1, I need y'all to click off this episode and go watch that episode 1 right now. Episode 1 was legendary. We got to record it live in front of a live audience at the Empower Youth Summit hosted by the Kim Foundation. So real quick, just want to give another shout out to the Kim Foundation for putting that on and having me out there, giving me that opportunity to host a live episode for all those students. There were 36 local high schools from the Omaha High School area there at the Empower Youth Summit. And to be able to put on a live podcast recording for the afternoon session, gosh, I'll never forget that day. Life's been pretty crazy lately, y'all. And I won't lie, today, I'm not even feeling that good. I'm not feeling that good. You might notice throughout the episode, I'm a little out of breath. My nose is so clogged. My throat hurts. But it's episode 2 of the podcast, Youth Wellness Podcast season, and I am not taking a week off, y'all. This is 10 straight weeks. We got to get back committed because I want to revamp and rejuvenate the podcast. The Underwater Fly Zone Podcast is coming back, so I'm not missing no episodes. I'm a little tired as well because past 2 weeks have been kind of crazy for me. So we went up to Omaha to speak at Conestoga Elementary and then the Empower Youth Summit. Right when we got back, I drove to Dallas with the homies, my brother Carson and Jack Fields. We drove to Dallas the next day. Last Saturday, I was in Dallas, Texas. We did an event. It was a great event. Shout out to the Melting Pot Market. Got the little chain right there. I don't even know what that is. The vendor necklace. I don't even know what you call it. But anyways, shout out to Melting Pot in Dallas. We drove back through the night, got back at 5 a.m. I don't even know if I fully recovered from that all-nighter yet, but got back, had 2 days off, and then went up to Iowa to speak at Martinsdale St. Mary's High School. I got the hat over there. Eventually I got to show y'all all the hats we've been gathering from all these schools, and we got to do a little ranking, but Martinsdale St. Mary's, we spoke there on April 1st, on April Fool's Day. Went out there and then spoke at Hillside Community Church that night. And then the next day, we're at Iowa State University. And then I came home, and now I've been home. And today is Easter Sunday, y'all. Happy Easter. Happy late Easter. If you're watching this, you're obviously not watching this on Easter. It drops tomorrow. So recording this on Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, everybody. Jesus is risen indeed. And that is kind of what today's episode will be about. You know, I actually was planning to have this episode be about the effects that social media has had on our mental health and how I just want to encourage the youth to pursue leisure activities over social media consumption. You know, it's okay to consume some social media, but I feel like this generation, I'll include myself in this generation as well. It's the generation of brain rot. You know what I'm saying? So this episode was supposed to be about that, but it's Easter Sunday, and I just want this to be about something completely different. I want this episode to be about Jesus and about how Jesus has changed my life. And I really have no plans. Like I said, I had something completely different planned, but today, recording this on Easter, I just want to change and kind of tell y'all my testimony today. I didn't even really plan on doing this, but we're going to do it. And I also want to say that honestly, I'll be honest, I have censored. First of all, it's funny that we always say, I'll be honest. Obviously, I'm going to be honest. I'm always being honest. It's like a weird thing that we say as humans. Like, I'll be honest. I'm always honest. So let me continue to be honest with y'all. I have censored myself on this podcast recently. It's not like it used to be, you know, when I would record a podcast episode and it'd be our supporters watching, my family watching, a couple of my friends watching. Like, it's not like that anymore. I know that watching this episode today and even our previous episodes, there are principals. So hello, any principals watching. Hello, any mental health specialists that want to bring me in to come speak. Hello to all of you. Welcome in. I feel like I censor myself for y'all a lot, to be honest. And I do that just because I want to show you that, hey, when I come speak at a public school, I know the rules. I actually went to college to teach in public schools. I went to college and got certified in K through 12 public education, so physical education, that is. So I know that I can't go into a school building and start preaching the gospel. I know I can't talk about anything like that, and I don't. That's why we've been brought into over 50 schools in the past 6 months. There's a reason that we've been successful with our program we've created. And it's because I followed the rules that the country has laid out. Separation of church and state, that whole thing. I follow the rules. I know what I'm doing, and our program is so impactful. So I don't want to come on here and always talk about things that are going to give people that would book me to come put on our program the idea that, hey, this man he doesn't understand the rules of the game. I understand, y'all. I understand. So basically, I find myself censoring myself a lot, and I always find myself having to give this disclaimer of, hey, I'm a Christian, I believe in Jesus, but I don't bring this into the public school because I know I am not allowed to. And also I know that doing that would turn a lot of people off to the message that I'm sharing. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not censoring myself today. I'm telling y'all exactly, my experience with Christ and how Jesus has changed my life. So I just want to, again, make it clear that when I do my program for a public school, for a mental health event, I know the do's and the don'ts, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to get away from holding myself back on this podcast, because this is my space where we're in my parents' basement in the merch room, and y'all watching this don't want to hear a censored version of what I have to say. This whole thing got built off of authenticity and, me being myself. So I don't want to hold myself back on this podcast episode, nor do I want to hold myself back on this podcast season. So I'm going to tell you my true experience today. I'm going to tell you my testimony today. And, I hope that you're able to take something powerful away from this episode. And I just hope that, everyone listening understands that here on the Underwater Fly Zone, I am keeping it true to who I am, So if you don't want to listen to the pod, then don't. But if you do, here we are. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And I also just, with that being said, I want to apologize to all of our OG listeners. I feel like this podcast has gotten so watered down in some ways. I don't want to even say that, because I just feel like we've gotten off focus from where we used to be. And that's just me being honest. I feel like we've gotten away from the authenticity and from the genuineness of the podcast. And sometimes I find myself saying things that I think, speaking bookers would want to hear type of thing. I'd rather not get booked than have to go out somewhere and be something that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that's all I have to say. I want to apologize to our listeners that have been expecting the authenticity and haven't been getting it recently. I'm over that, y'all. I'm over that. And we're locking back in with the Underwater Fly Zone podcast. So anyways, before I tell y'all my testimony, we got a new merch drop, and I want to just run it down with y'all real quick. Okay, so we got some new merch coming. It's the old design that we did two summers ago, but some new colorways. So let's go through them real quick. You are going to see this new merch at all the upcoming pop-ups. We have a ton coming up. We got Missouri Southern State University this coming Wednesday. We got Tri-Delt out at Mizzou next Sunday. So anybody that goes to Mizzou will be out on Tri-Delt's front lawn. So feel free to come by. I think they'll be cool with that. I doubt they're going to turn you away. I'm not going to turn you away. So, but all my Tri-Delt homies, I'll see y'all there for sure. We're at K-State on April 15th. I'm looking at my calendar. That's why I'm looking to the left. Maryville, we're coming home, baby. We're coming back to Maryville on April 18th. We're coming back to Lee Summit at Green Street on April 19th. And then I'm speaking at Belton before and after school program on the 20th. Little 3-day back-to-back right there. Blue Valley North on April 23rd. Fort Osage High School is up in the air right now, but it might happen on April 24th. It's not locked in yet, but I'll keep you updated. 16-14 night / Young People of Jesus merch restock is on the April 24th night as well. You'll see some promo about that coming up. And then I'll be out at the Park Hill soccer game. There's a mental health soccer game being held at Park Hill on April 30th. And I'm trying to fill the weekend of April 25th and 26th. We'll see what happens. But anyways, all of our local pop-ups will have this merch, so let's run it down real quick. We got some new colorways in the Finish Your Race merch. First up, we got the Royals Powder Blue on some white. I don't know if y'all can see it, but this is honestly starting off with my favorite one. This is my favorite one. It's a Shockaware blank, which basically means it's a little more boxy, a little bit more oversized. So boom. Number 1 down. Number 2, this has been everybody else's favorite one so far. This is a vintage black LA Apparel. So LA Apparel is what you're used to from us. It's not as boxy, but it is still the oversized look with the bright pink on the car. Okay, so we got number 2. Number 3, this is one of my other favorites. This is probably my second favorite. It's this LA Apparel Ash shirt with the red. That is the Chiefs red. So any of my local Kansas City people, this is going to be cool. I wanted to do the Chiefs red just because whenever Chiefs season comes back up, maybe you could wear the race tee with the Chiefs hat. I don't know. I thought it'd be cool. This is a restock. This is the only restock from this drop. It's a pink on pink finish your race tee. Everybody loved that one, and I bet some of y'all are excited to see it back. Vintage black. This is this a Shaka? I can't remember if this is a Shaka or a LA. I'll have to look. But it's that same Royals powder blue on a vintage black. That one's pretty fire. This is a really, really a heater. Mineral wash black with teal print. Come on now. Come on. Anyone listening on Spotify, I'm sorry. You're probably not seeing all of this, but you'll just have to check the Instagram. Got some fire stuff we're showing right now. That teal with the black is dope. And then finally, this is a Shockaware right here. We got the cream with the red. Now, let me just explain to you what this design is. It says finish your race because I just want to encourage everybody, whatever race you're running, whatever trial you're going through in life, whatever hurdle you're having to jump or whatever mountain you're having to climb, whatever you're going through in your life, finish the race that is ahead of you. Finish that race. Don't give up. And this it has a little quote on the bottom that says, you've came too far to stop now. Don't give up. Finish your race. It'll be worth it. That is so true, man. I remember some trials I was going through in my life where it felt like it was never going to end. I felt like I was never going to heal, but finally I got to a point where I did start to heal. I did start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm so glad I never gave up. I'm so glad I didn't give up on that race, on that healing journey that I was going through. And I finished my race, and now I'm able to be where I'm at today, putting out a new merch drop, putting out tons of content, putting out just everything we've been able to do at the Underwater Fly Zone. I wouldn't have been able to do if I would have given up on my race. So I just want to encourage y'all to finish your race because like the shirt says, it will be worth it. It truly will be worth it. So let's see. It's Easter Sunday. I got a lot going on, so I want to get into this testimony. I just want to basically tell y'all kind of how I found Jesus and what it's done for my life. And my advice to the youth today would just be to, if you do believe in God and you do believe in Jesus, I would say really take it seriously. Take your walk seriously. I feel like I hear some advice in life at times that people will say, hey, don't take life so seriously. Don't take life so seriously. I do not support that advice. I do not endorse that advice. I say it's important to take life seriously. And if you follow God, if you believe in Jesus, I encourage y'all to do the same. Take life seriously and take your walk with Christ seriously, because the reason for that is it could change. It will change your life. Not it can, it will change your life. It has changed my life. You know what I'm saying? So I want all of you to experience what it is to live the abundant life, a life full of abundance, a life full of God's glory. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want you to take it seriously. And then if you don't believe in God, or you have a lot of questions, or maybe you used to believe and then something happened and you're just so against it now, I just want to challenge y'all to open your mind today, and I just want to challenge y'all to get curious. That's all I want. Get curious, because what I'm about to tell you is real, and it really changed my life. And if God didn't exist, if God doesn't exist, then I just don't know what changed my life. I don't know. I don't know what changed my life if it wasn't God, because when I put my faith in Jesus, my life changed. So I just want you to get curious, because there's something there, obviously, right? Like, let's get into this. I'm going to kind of run through this a little bit quicker than I would like to. We're going to do another testimony episode. I had planned to do this later in the season. I did not plan to do this today, so my thoughts aren't all the way straight, but I'm just going to kind of give you a shorter version today, and we'll touch back on this later in the season. So I just remember in 8th grade, so I always believed in God growing up. I always believed in God. I never doubted God, but in 8th grade, I remember being in class, and all of my friends started getting called out to the office. These were just my school friends. I didn't really hang out with them outside of school, but my school friends started getting called to the office one by one. and they all got suspended, and most of them got expelled, like done for the year. It was about March. They were done for the year, expelled. And I was blown away because I found out the reason they got expelled was because they all had drugs in their backpack, and they all were getting expelled for having illegal substances in their backpack. And I'm sitting at a table that is now empty because everyone at my table, all my friends, all my homies, are all gone now. They're all suspended. I didn't know this about them. I didn't know any of this was going on. So in that moment, I kind of found myself becoming lonely because I just kind of cut them all off. You know what I'm saying? I was like, these are people that I would say are bad influences. I didn't even know what they were doing. We were just kind of the friends, like we'd throw a football around at recess type of thing. I never hung out with these dudes outside of school. I didn't know what was going on. So all my friends got expelled, so I kind of became like this loner kid. And about a month before that, it was about November, so like about 4 months before that, we had basketball tryouts. And some of you might know this, but I had NBA dreams, y'all. Like I'm supposed to be in the league right now, but unfortunately I got cut from my 8th grade basketball team. My middle school basketball team, I got cut on the second day, y'all. On the second day I got cut. And so basically all my athletic friends, all my athletic homies made the team. I was the only one that didn't make the team. And that's kind of how I got a new friend group, which then all got expelled, right? So anyways, I kind of messed the story up because I was supposed to tell it reverse order. But when all my friends made the team and I didn't make the team, I had to sit there and watch all my friends, get the uniforms, get to go to the games, get to go to practice. And I'm going home, and I felt like all my friends had been taken from me. Like they all had so much to relate about, and I had nothing. They offered me to be the team manager, and I was like, I just felt disrespected by that. I was like, man, you're going to cut me, but you're going to make me come do team manager stuff. Like I was just, I was just not having it. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like I lost all my best friends that made the basketball team. And then I ended up finding some new friends, and all those new friends, like I said, they were just didn't know them that well, clearly, because they all got expelled. So for the rest of my 8th grade year, I was just alone. And I would just say that did a lot for my confidence. And I just, I don't know. I always stood on who I was, but I was kind of ashamed of who I was because I didn't make the team. I wasn't involved in whatever my friends that got expelled were doing. I was just kind of like alone. I had different interests, and I started a wiffle ball league. A lot of you know about the Raintree Wiffle Ball League. I started that the summer of my 8th grade year, going into my freshman year of high school, and that wiffle ball league just kind of changed my whole life because it gave me something to look forward to and work on and grind on. You know what I'm saying? And the wiffle ball league was my thing, and it was becoming big in our neighborhood, but I thought it was kind of cringy at the same time, so I didn't want anybody to know about it at the time. So we would play wiffle ball, we would do our thing, but I was just kind of like keeping it a secret, keeping it just kind of in the neighborhood type of thing. Me and my friends would talk about it at school, but if people would ask about it, we especially me, would kind of just not really say a whole lot, just because I thought it was weird, oh, this guy didn't make the basketball team, he's not playing football, he's playing wiffle ball with a bunch of, kids in the neighborhood. Like, I had a lot of like self, I just kind of thought I was not cool. I just thought I was kind of a loser type of thing. So I just didn't really put myself out there, and I didn't really want anyone to know what I was about. And then all of you watching this probably know, when I was a sophomore in high school, my best friend Kyle, who was a part of our wiffle ball league, he took his own life. And when Kyle passed away, I remember when I found out the news, my life changed in that moment. And I would say I just turned my life over to when I hear testimonies, a lot of times there's always like the tragic thing that happens, or the moment that your life kind of changes, you kind of lose your innocence. And I feel like a lot of the times when I hear a testimony, and this is something that also I feel like it's hard for me to relate at times, I feel like people oftentimes turn their life over to drugs or to alcohol. That was not me. I'm 25 years old today, and I've never drank, I've never smoked, I've never vaped, I've never done any of those things. To this day, I'm 25, never had a sip of alcohol, y'all. And I was a fraternity president. A lot of you probably don't know that. I was the president of my fraternity in college, and I never drank. I'm just throwing that out there just because it's kind of a crazy fact about me. But I didn't turn my life over to those things. But what I did turn my life over to was music that helped me feel comforted in my depression, because I was going through a lot of pain. I was navigating a lot of very difficult emotions, and I felt so alone already from all my friends making the team, and then my other friend group all got expelled. I already felt alone. And then when my best friend took his own life, like I just felt completely misunderstood. Like no one could understand what I was going through. No one wanted to understand what I was going through. That's kind of the way I was feeling. It wasn't true, but it was what I was feeling. And I would listen to these artists such as XXXTentacion, Juice WRLD, Trippie Redd, Lil Peep, Suicide Boys. Crazy enough, Suicide Boys, I'd listen to them, and this music was talking about some crazy, crazy things. If any of y'all know anything about this music, they would say things that were kind of, I would say, off the wall. Like XXXTentacion had a song called Jocelyn Flores. It was about a girl that he knew that took her own life. And basically in the song, he would talk about how he wants to kill himself and how he wants to end it and this type of stuff. And for whatever reason, those lyrics would make me feel comforted. Like I was feeling comfort in the depression. You know, Lil Peep would have songs that would make me feel some sort of comfort and some sort of like, I don't know, it would just make me feel understood in a way. And I was basically dwelling in my depression. Does that make sense? Like I was living in my depression, and I was like feeding the depression and feeding the things I was going through. And what I learned was that it was keeping me comfortable, doing these things and listening to this music. It was keeping me comfortable, and it was keeping me in the same place. I was in my comfort zone, and when I would listen to this music, I would feel a sense of comfort for whatever reason. And we'll get more into that on a later episode. We're going to do a whole episode about the music we listen to later on this podcast season, but I don't want to dive too deep into this right now. But it was allowing myself to feel comforted in my depression, and what that was doing, it was keeping me in the exact same place. I was doing no healing, because here's the deal: you don't grow in your comfort zone at all. In your comfort zone, you don't grow. You just sit in the same place. You grow in uncomfort. Uncomfortable situations are what grow you. You know what I'm saying? Every time I go out and speak to an audience, it's very uncomfortable for me as an introvert, but it grows me so much. You know what I'm saying? Every time I place a big merch order and none of it is claimed or anything, and I know I just have to sell like 2,000 shirts or else the company's done. Like Underwater Fly Zone would be done if I don't sell these shirts. That's very uncomfortable, but it grows myself and it grows the business as well. It grows this movement as well. So I didn't know that at the time though. So I was listening to this music, and this music was honestly just taking a toll on my mental health. It was taking a toll on my physical health. It was keeping my mind just in this depressed state. And like I said, I wasn't going anywhere. But what happened was COVID hit. So COVID hits. I am now a freshman in college, still on the same type of stuff. Like all that time, I was becoming very, depressed and finding comfort in the depression through this music. But when COVID hit, I met this girl named Macy, which y'all probably know Macy. It's my wife now. Macy Simpson, now Macy Huggins. I met her, and she just had something different about her. I don't know what it was, but what I found out was that she just had this relationship with Jesus that had clearly changed her life. She was just such a light. Like, just being around her made your day better. Like, Macy had just this different energy, and that's what made me so drawn to her. And I started just noticing the way she would talk about how, like, Jesus, this and that. And like, oh man, I remember we had a conversation. We were on a hike one time, and she was just telling me how she would stay in when all of her friends in high school would go out. She would stay in and she would pray, and she would pray every morning, pray every night, pray all the time. And I had never really prayed. And when I take that back. I had never really prayed the way that she was praying. I would pray by saying, the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the praise, the prayers that I do believe are important, but she prayed in a different way. It wasn't a structured, like, let's recite this prayer. She would just sit there and say, Jesus, thank you so much for this day. I'm really struggling with this, or I'm really excited about this. I'm so grateful for this. Thank you, Jesus. She would be like talking with Jesus and talking with God throughout the day. And that just really like intrigued me. So I started to realize that Jesus wants so much more than just for you to believe in him. He doesn't even just want you just solely to follow him. He wants you to have a relationship with him. And that changed my life, y'all. That changed my life. Seeing the way Macy would interact with God through prayer changed my life. So I started to do the same thing. I started to pray. I started to really do things that were uncomfortable. It felt so weird at first. It felt so truly uncomfortable to pray in these ways and to talk to God. And another thing that was very uncomfortable was going to church and like really paying attention, not just going to church just to be there. And, and I was hardly even going to church before then. I was like off and on. Going to church and really taking in the messages. They would, the pastor, shout out Pastor Chad Glover. It was called Paradigm. I still go to Paradigm from time to time. We'd go to this thing called Paradigm on Tuesday nights. It was church for young adults, ages 18 to 30. So I could still go. I'm 25. I still got like 5 years left. I haven't gone as much recently, but I was going consistently from age 20 to 24. Like every single Tuesday, me and Macy would go to this thing, and Pastor Chad Glover would say things that I felt called out every time. Like he would call something out that I was struggling with, and he would completely align my perspective and align my paradigm. That's why they call it Paradigm. Align my paradigm and my focus with what he was saying, and it started to change my life. And a big one, this is actually a Sunday service, Pastor Phil at my church. Pastor Phil even talked about Juice WRLD. He pulled up a Juice WRLD quote, and it was this song that says, sometimes I feel like I can't die because I never was. This is so bad. This is a Juice WRLD song, but sometimes I feel like I can't die because I never was alive. Every day it feels like someone new dies. I think the news is a lie, or it says something like that. I can't remember exactly the words. I haven't heard that song in like 5 years, but maybe less than that, maybe like 3 years. I heard him say this song that I would listen to every single day. Sometimes I feel like I can't die because I never was alive. That type of lyric would make me feel comforted and make me feel understood. But when Pastor Phil said it on stage and rebuked Juice WRLD's bar right there, I felt called out. Like, I would feel called out in church in a good way, but that day I felt called out in a very uncomfortable way. I was like, man, Pastor Phil just don't understand, man. He don't understand what he just said. I want to get Pastor Phil on a podcast one day and bring this up to him, because I sat there and I was like, I remember going home just so mad. I was like, I'm never going back to that church. They just don't get it. They don't get what people are going through out here. And what I realized was he said exactly what I needed to hear. Exactly what I needed to hear. He said something that made me feel so uncomfortable and so honestly triggered that I just did some self-reflection and realized he's completely right. What am I listening to? What am I consuming here? And I just made this decision to drop all that music. Like, granted, I'll listen to that music from time to time, just in a social setting, like someone might want to play it or whatever, and I want to get away. Like, some things like are very hard to escape, but and that's honestly me making an excuse. I feel like I need to just like not do what I just said. I need to get away from it completely. But in my personal time, I don't listen to that stuff anymore. I'll listen to Christian music solely. All I have downloaded is Christian music, and it's changed my life. Like I said earlier, my thing was not alcohol or drugs. My thing was music. Music would comfort me. This depressing music would comfort me. And what I didn't know then, what I do know now, is that comfort was just keeping me stagnant in this painful place in my life. So when I started to pray more and I started to go to church more and really take in the messages and let the messages offend me, I wanted to be called out. Like, here's one thing that always, just in the world we live in right now, I feel like everyone gets so offended so easily, which makes it very hard to be a speaker, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I feel like everyone gets offended so easily. But here's something that I've just kind of learned is, like, when something is said and it's not true, or it's just bogus or just nonsense, maybe it's just me, but I'm very good at just discarding that as, I'll just laugh at it. Like, if someone says something that's clearly not true, but like they're like trying to call out, like if it's just a clear lie, like it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't upset me. It just makes me laugh. Like, it's just kind of funny. It's like, man, you really think that? Like, that's crazy. But if someone says something that is true and I feel called out, that is when like change happens. Like if someone comes up to me and they say like, man, you're just doing this for clout or something like that. You're just doing this for money or something like that. I just literally laugh so hard because it's so not true. Like I don't even have the mental capacity to respond to that in a serious way. Like it's just funny to me, right? But if someone comes up to me and they say like, man, your shirt, like the quality is just not what I want. Like it's just, then I'm like, oh, wait a second. Let me think more about that. Like, why is that? And then they'll say like, I don't know, like the collar's too tight. I like a looser collar. So these are real examples. Like there's now some of our shirts that have a looser collar because a lot of you know us for like having a tight streetwear type collar. Some people don't want that, and I want everybody wearing the message. So like if I hear something like that, it makes me think like, oh, let me explore this constructive criticism. You know what I'm saying? Let me explore this. Even if it's something disrespectful, like, I don't know, like I thought Pastor Phil was being disrespectful, to be honest. I thought he was disrespecting myself and anyone else that found healing, what I thought was healing in Juice WRLD's music. I was like, man, this dude just doesn't understand. I felt called out. I felt offended. But I was also curious because part of me knew he was right. And it took me about 30 minutes after the service to realize this man is right, and I needed to hear that so much, and I appreciate him so much for being bold and sharing that message because it changed my life, and it really was a huge click in my mind. Gosh, I don't know. I got to get Phil on the podcast. That would be crazy. We got to figure out how to make that happen. But yeah, it's just crazy how, I feel like if more people would listen to their reactions, our world would probably be a better place, because my reactions are like this. If it's just untrue, I just laugh at it and it's just funny to me. But if it's true and it offends me, like that means like that might be an area in my life that I need to improve on. So like Phil calling me out there, that was an area in my life I needed to improve on. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. The point of this video is this. When I gave my life to Christ, which I don't know. I feel like in church, y'all know when you go to church and they always ask, raise your hand at the end of the service. I never raise my hand because I feel like I've given my life to Christ. Like, I don't know. Another reason I want to get Phil on is to ask him some of these questions. Like, how do you officially know? Like, because mentally I know, in my heart I know. I believe in Jesus fully. I believe that this day, Easter Sunday, is the most significant day of the whole year. I would even say more significant than Christmas, because this is the day that Jesus rose from the dead. And because Jesus rose from the grave and ascended into heaven, that makes our quote, your life is worth living, true. That makes this quote, I could say it with factual evidence behind it, because Jesus lives. And because Jesus lives, your life is worth living, because this life is not all there is to live for. There's heaven on the other side of this life, and heaven is real because Jesus rose from the grave. So, like, I know I'm saved. I know I believe fully, but I never had like a day where I rose my hand in church and said like, God, I accept you as my Lord and Savior. I never had that moment in a church setting, because I've always believed in God and I've always accepted Jesus since like 6th grade, sitting in a Catholic church. I still would say I'm Catholic, I think. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I just believe in God. I just believe in Jesus and follow Jesus. There's one thing to believe, but there's another thing to follow. And I guess the whole thing I'm trying to say in this podcast episode, it's really rambly because this, like I said, not planned at all. But my whole point in this message today is young people watching this, the youth watching this. Let me grab a shirt. I want y'all to the youth watching this for the Youth Wellness Podcast season. I just want you all to rally behind this message on this shirt. It's our other clothing brand we have that say young people love Jesus. Young people love Jesus. Like there's two ways to say that quote. Young people love Jesus as a factual statement, because there is this youth revival taking place in our nation right now. I feel like more people, I know statistically speaking, more young people are coming to Christ than ever before. But the way I want to say this quote today is young people love Jesus. Like, young people watching this love Jesus. It changed my life. Jesus changed my life. So I just want you all to know that today. The healing for me, everyone always asks me this at a public school. They're like, yeah, what you said was great. I need to reach out and get help. I need to get involved in leisure activities. I need to remember the 988 hotline. I need to do all these things. But what was like the biggest thing for you? And I like literally legally can't tell them the truth, but I'm telling y'all right now, the number one thing that healed me from everything I was going through, from my depression, from my, honestly, a lot of you know this, I was having thoughts, very intrusive thoughts of like wanting to take my own life even. And the day I put my faith in Jesus fully, and the day I started to develop a relationship with Jesus, thanks to my wife, Macy, when Macy really showed me what that looked like, that is what caused the depression, the suicidal thoughts, all those things to disappear, and they've truly never been back. The only time they ever creep back is when I lose focus, when I get too focused on work, when I get too focused on the stress that life brings, when I get too focused on other things. That's the only time that those thoughts come back, when I get my focus off what? When I get my focus off Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So that is what I want you to know today. Put your focus on God. God is real. God is more real than we could even fathom. I mean, there's so many questions that I have for God because there's so much I don't understand. But I just also want to say this. Don't let your lack of understanding hold you back from something that will change your life. It changed my life. God changed my life. And people will say all the time too, you know, they'll say like, oh no, you're just believing a lie. Like it's just a big hoax. Like this is not true. Well, I just want you to know this. If I'm wrong, I don't want to be right. You know, if I'm wrong about this, that just means that I will live a life following great teachings that are like better way of living, I guess you could say, than I was living before. Before I was following God, I was stuck in a state of comfort, and that comfort was finding comfort in depression. That's how I was before, and ever since, I have not felt that depression. I've not felt suicidal thoughts. I've not felt any of that stuff. So following God has been better for me. So if what I'm following is not true, I'd rather follow something that's not true than do whatever I was doing before. So if I'm wrong, I don't want to be right. And the last thing I want to say is this too. If you put your faith in Jesus, that means this world that we're living in is the worst it'll ever get for us, because heaven is a place of perfection. Now, you have to be perfect to get to heaven, which none of us are perfect, right? And that's why Jesus came and died for our sins and rose again on this day, you know, over 2,000 years ago, on Easter Sunday, 2,000 years ago. That's why that took place, because Jesus took our sin, died for our sin. He paid the debt that we owed, essentially. And because of that, if we put our faith and trust in him, I truly believe that we'll enter heaven as well. He washes us clean from our imperfections and makes us perfect in God's image. So anyways, I just want to encourage y'all, man. I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. If this is true, if Jesus exists, if God is real, this is the worst it gets, because heaven is on the other side of this life. And on the flip side, if God is true and you deny him, if you deny Jesus, this is the best it gets, because I do believe that hell is real as well. You know, when God's not going to send you to hell. You send yourself to hell by not putting your faith in him. So I just want to encourage y'all, put your faith in him. The worst case scenario is that you end up living a better life, because like I said, it's changed my life. And I know that there's plenty of Christians or people that claim to follow Jesus out there that will not make your life better, to be honest. There's a lot of people out there that will decrease the value or the quality of your life. I just want to encourage y'all, if you need help finding community, if you need help finding a group of people that want to see you live your best life in Christ, DM WileIWL.tour right now, and I have some secret sauce for you. And it's not even that secret. Paradigm is a place that we can gather at here in Kansas City, but it's also an online community. If you live in Wisconsin or Texas or something and you're watching this episode, you can still get involved in Paradigm, which is the coolest thing about this social media age. And that's part of what I was going to talk about on this episode, but I switched the whole vibe because it's Easter Sunday. And like I said, this is completely an unpolished episode. It is completely all over the place. Definitely not my best work, but I will leave today feeling so much better, knowing that I gave you my true, from the bottom of my heart, truth, and not just like a very shallow version of myself, because I'm going to be authentic on here, y'all. I'm telling you, I've always been authentic until about 6 months ago when I realized, oh my goodness, it's not just supporters watching anymore. It is principals, it is superintendents, it is mental health professionals, all this stuff. And I put so much pressure on myself to be perfect for them that I feel like I watered down my authenticity. So your boy is back. Your boy ain't going anywhere. And I'm so grateful for Easter Sunday. Shout out to Jesus, you know what I'm saying, for raising from the dead. Young people, put your faith and trust in Jesus. And if you need help with that, DM me. I'm telling you, shoot me a DM. I will respond. And I'm just grateful for Easter Sunday, baby. Happy Easter, everybody. Have a great week. We got a lot coming up. And I am about to probably hang out with the fam. And I'm also going to bed crazy early tonight because I need to start feeling better before Wednesday, because I got a big event on Wednesday at Missouri Southern State in Joplin, Missouri. And, oh, yeah, also I got the biggest, some of y'all probably noticed, I got the biggest, like, it started out as a pimple. Now I don't even know what it is. The biggest red spot on my face. So hopefully this thing heals by Wednesday, or else I'm going to be looking like a weirdo up there. But, hey, we're all a little weird, right? That's the thing, too. We're all a little weird. We all have our own things, so I ain't even trying to be perfect. That's the thing. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to be myself. And there is so much upcoming, y'all. So much upcoming. But, yeah, I'm just excited for it. I hope today's message did something for you. I hope it wasn't just a bunch of yapping. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, we're going to do a couple more episodes like this later on in the season. I'm going to make sure they're more polished than this one. But, yeah. Lock in, baby. Have a great week. I love you guys. Promo code for free shipping on merch, WILIWL26. Your challenge for the week, pray every single day, all 7 days this week. Say a prayer. Just a prayer, and not a structured one. Just talk to God. Talk to God for 7 days in a row this week and report back to me and let me know how it goes. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, I think I left out one thing. You know how I was talking about how I was kind of lonely and kind of like a loner type of thing? It's just amazing that like God's became like my best friend. Like when I'm out traveling on speaking gigs and speaking tours and stuff, and it's just me by myself, I never feel alone. I always feel like I got God to talk to. I always feel like I have God to talk to throughout the day, and that is just the most incredible thing for me. Like I'll be up in Iowa. I remember I spoke at Iowa at Turner Construction last August, and it was just me all by myself going up there, did my thing for 3 days and came home. And that whole 3 days, I remember just praying to God in a Chick-fil-A parking lot, praying to God as I'm sitting there waiting for my name to be called up and speak, talking with God and just literally just sharing with God everything I was feeling. I was nervous at times. I was grateful at times. I was sad at times because I missed my wife, you know what I'm saying? And it was just amazing that I was at a time in my life feeling so alone, but I'll never feel alone again because we have a friend. We have a friend in Jesus, y'all. We have a friend in Jesus. So that's just an incredible thing. I'm so grateful for that. But that's actually all I got. Have a great Easter Sunday, y'all. I'm going to end this before I keep yapping. That was probably the best part of the episode. I'm not going to lie. I need to clip that. Peace, y'all.